Good morning and welcome. I'm Mary Winters, your host of Visionary Aging. I'm a gerontologist and the owner of About Senior Solutions. We provide geriatric care management, but the purpose of the show is to empower you and to let you know that when we plan things like our weddings and different parties and special things in our life, we should plan something about our aging too. And what is your vision of aging? We want to create the best vision for you with you. So this show is all about resources. Today we're going to chat a little bit about getting to 100. We have some celebrities who are turning 100, some amazing celebrities who are in their 90s or near their 90s, and they are still in the news, still making sense about what's going on in the world. And I think we're going to take a little bit of a listen. So let's go ahead and we'll start with our caregiver question from Stephen McCullough. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning, Mary. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Yeah. So I know it's not a complex question because we talked about it before, but tell me a little bit about the question that you have.
The question that I have comes from a lady. She's in a assisted housing, and one of the people that live there just turned 100 recently. So she wants to know what steps she could take to have a healthy and quality 100 years. Like, how does she get to 100? What are the steps that she could take to get to healthy?
It's interesting because I have worked with seniors in their 80s and they're on no medication. I'm working right now with a woman who's almost 96 years old and she lives alone. She was driving up until very recently and she's on no medication. And that's not obviously the key, but in um, in my research over the years, I put together something called Shape Up Your Longevity. So I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. Melinda can bring a lot of insight as well with her nutrition and fitness background. And let's just start with the very beginning. Well, Shape Up stands for, or their acronyms for things that stand for measures to promote living to 100. So I have this little page here. I'll hold one up, and you can always call our office and get a copy of this. It's Shape Up Your Longevity. So it stands for S is for spiritual community, H is for healthy life balance and habits. The thing that's interesting, this is kind of a heavy one. Your sleep plays into that. Are you getting 7 to 9 solid hours of sleep? Are you laughing? Are you spending time with people that you enjoy? Are you, well, I'll go back into others too, like attitude and influencers. T stands for your physical activity, and E is eating habits. What are you putting in your body? Because everything you put in your body either stays in it or stays on it or, may not work that well. So we want to think about what we're eating and what we're putting in our body. That's probably one of the most important things we can actually do. Dan Buettner, who's done a ton of studying on living to be 100, he has a big thing on the plant slant. He doesn't say be vegan, be vegetarian, never eat meat, but just eat less of it. The people he found throughout the country, or the world rather, have very little meat, sometimes because they have little access to it, which is also very interesting. And then the other is United Family. We know that if you have at least 10 connections to people in your life, you are more likely to live to be 100. So make friends with people who are younger than you, unless you hang with some really successful 100-year-olds. But we want to have those relationships where we're connected and people are watching in on us, and we have that social connectedness with people. It's so important. And we've even done research on without having those kinds of human connections, it could be like smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, something like that.
Really?
So, oh yeah. So, and that's why I think we had so many people slide and um, and do poorly during COVID because they were isolated. We were protecting them but as a result, they also have some very significant declines. We had 92% of our people who passed away during COVID, and we're still obviously in COVID, did not die of COVID. They died of some sort of level of neglect, whether it was wounds originally, because we couldn't see them. We didn't know what was going on. It was horrible. But they were more isolated, and we were designed to be connected human beings. So I'm glad you're watching the show. I'm glad that people are viewing and wanting to be connected on this too. And then the last is purpose. We always need to have some sort of purpose. I was telling a friend the other day, sometimes at the very end of our life, our purpose is to be cared for too. And that's a very interesting kind of dynamic and change in our thought process. But this is my purpose. I love doing this. I love being able to share this kind of information with others, and I appreciate that you're here doing the same thing too. So shape up your longevity. Those are the things. And we're going to go on. We're going to add Melinda too. And we're going to talk a little bit. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's add Melinda, and we're going to talk a little bit about, let's add Melinda. Hold on. I can see we have several viewers this morning too. So we'll have to.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great. Well, I know you're at the strength shop this morning.
I love Shape Up.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's not just about the shape up. It's about your mind. It's about, obviously, it's a twist on words, but it's
everything's
about
connected.
Everything. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the, when we think of holistic health, it's about the whole human being. And who was it? It was one of those Greek people that said the part can't be well if the whole can't be well if something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I think it's Plato, but maybe Socrates.
Socrates.
Right? There you go.
The part can never be well unless the whole is well.
Exactly. And sometimes I think we even forget about our feet, or we forget about our mouths, our oral hygiene too, because that relates to if we're not taking care of our mouths, that can relate to poor heart health and brain health. I mean, it's amazing. We are a connected body. We're not just pieces of our body.
Yeah, that was always amazing to me. Both my parents worked in the dental field, and the health of your mouth, that's a huge concern, is like the effect your dental health has on your heart. So everything's interconnected. Even when we talk about our immune system, which is helping fight infection and chronic illness, the immune system is only as healthy as the rest of your body. And the immune system, when we think about different systems of the body, there's no centralized location to the immune system. It's kind of everywhere in your body. And that's, your whole body has to be healthy. Like you need proper nutrient stores. You need to avoid things that cause either physical stress or emotional stress in order for those physical, those nutrient stores not to be depleted. But it's just, everything's so connected. And I think that we forget those important, the fact that our relationships and, even being able to have that purpose in your life, that does affect your health in a huge way. Your happiness affects your health in a huge way. So
absolutely. So let's talk about we're going to talk about Betty White really fast. I'm going to bring some and talk about what everybody's talking about Betty White about. And so we know she's going to be 100 in January. And there's a huge hubbub about her in the news right now. People are talking about how they want to bubble wrap her and make sure we preserve her so that she gets to be 100. And they want to also make sure the National Guard is protecting her. She is a national treasure, I have to say. She is. But let's talk about some of the things in Shape Up that she's been doing throughout her lifetime, and why perhaps she's getting to be 100 also. I know some of it's genes, but honestly, a great majority, I would say 70% of your longevity is environment. It's all what you do and what you put in your body.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. And you can see with the example of Betty White, she's never stopped living.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's still doing things.
She's still working.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't seen her, or I haven't seen her. So during the pandemic, so I'm not sure where she is physically now. But we know before the pandemic, she was still in commercials. She was still doing little pieces. I think she's actually, is she the only remaining Golden Girl too?
Yes.
Is she?
Yes.
I think she is. Yeah.
You know, he's a lot younger, but I've been watching Schitt's Creek. Have you?
Yeah.
Either of you seen that?
Yeah.
Eugene Levy is a lot younger than, I think he's in his 70s. But what was so cool about that that show for me watching it was, Eugene Levy's had this beautiful career, and most people retire in their, 68 and he basically made this huge hit, like winning all these awards in his 70s. And I think that's really cool. Like, you could have your greatest career success, after most people have retired. So that's really, and certainly Betty White is an example of that as well. She's been working consistently her entire life.
Well, I need my TV people. Maybe Herbie should be talking about this. But who is it? The man who it was a black and white film that came out probably 10, 15 years ago. That he had never been nominated for an Oscar, and he won the Academy Award, I think, for Best Supporting Actress that year. Actor, not actress. Although that's probably going to be a bone of contention before too long too.
That's so cool, isn't it? Not that people have to keep working their whole lives. I mean, retirement is great too, but I think for many actors and creative people, they just enjoy it so much it doesn't feel like work. So it's kind of their purpose and what they really enjoy about their lives. So if you can keep doing whatever it is that you really enjoy about your life,
Exactly. So let's talk about another interesting 90-year-old. I'll bring him on the screen now. We'll go ahead and bring on Mr. Shatner. So he's obviously been in other things other than Star Trek, but that has been his biggie.
T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker, that's right. So let's talk a little bit about what he's been up to these days. He went into the Edge of Space, which is so appropriate. So he is 90 years old, and I don't know. I have a debate about whether or not he was actually physically able to do something like that. The G-force on a body like that would be pretty incredible if he was able to really do that. Let's say he did. So let's say he actually, this is for real, he really did do it. Obviously, for all intents and purposes, he was part of that crew, and it looks like he was there. Let's talk about Shatner a little bit.
Yeah,
conspiracy theory that you don't think he was there?
Well, I speculate whether a 90-year-old body can handle that G-force, honestly. So I think that would be an interesting thing to talk with a physician or a scientist about the human body and what can we handle physically, because I think that's very interesting. And I'm not saying he did it.
He's not the most fit of 90-year-old people either.
He's not.
So it seems like if they could have, I don't know if there was what kind of requirements there were to be part of that.
Or where he needed to be physically to get there. And obviously we don't know any of those things. And we don't need to know. Other than the fact that, is it safe? Although I have to say that his cohort in Star Trek seem to think that he's going to be a really good study on this, because he didn't say he didn't go. He just said there's no way. So if a body's going to fall apart, and we know that they've had a lifetime of beauty, right?
This is George Takei?
George Takai. I'm sorry. Yeah, George Takai. And he doesn't think that he actually did it. So, or that his body will fall apart. He didn't say this, but he thinks his body's not going to do that.
There's definitely no love lost between those two.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. So, let's talk.
I'm reading an article right now. I found an article on CNN that's talking about Shatner in space and the physical demands and how somebody who is 90. It says that Blue Origin, which is the airline, I guess, or the airline. Are we going to call it an airline now?
The space line.
You have to be at least 18 years or older, between 5 foot and 6'4" and 110 and 223 pounds. And the key is you have to be in good enough physical shape to climb 7 flights of stairs in a minute and a half.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a Disneyland
That's
ride.
it?
As long as you can get up to the post at the Disneyland, you can get on.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
7 flights of stairs in a minute and a half. I mean, how many stairs?
I guess it depends on how long. Yeah, how long is the case of stairs, right?
Yeah.
Well,
he has to have some good cardio function.
Yeah. And I guess this article is saying that the suit you have to wear is pretty heavy. So I would assume that if you don't have muscle, if you can't lift that weight, that's going to be a challenge.
Let's talk about muscle. And
muscle.
So important. If you can get out of your chair at 100, that is huge.
Muscle is so important to longevity. Your whole body is supported by muscle. So if you think about the breakdown of the body, the skeleton is stabilized with muscle. The joints are held into place with muscle. Obviously, your quality of life is really dependent on how much muscle you have. But then the heart and lungs are dependent. They're interconnected with how much muscle you have as well. So if you think about endurance, for instance, going up those 7 flights of stairs, if you don't have a lot of muscle in your legs, if you don't have a lot of strength, you're going to run out of the muscle is going to demand more oxygen when the muscle fibers become exhausted. So if you have less muscle tissue, the demand on your heart and lungs is going to be more intense than if you had more muscle tissue. You'd be able to get up that flight of stairs without being as winded. The heart and lungs work to serve the muscles. So the stronger the muscles are, the less the heart and lungs really have to work to deliver oxygen.
Exactly. So I think it's fabulous that we have programs like Silver Sneakers. Your insurance actually helps to support that. Our senior centers or some of our gyms are really supporting older adults in physical activity. And I just love seeing people walk. Honestly, I don't walk or do enough physically. I come to the strength shop once a week.
Well, that's a lot. Those workouts are intense.
They are, and I know that it's only recommended for 1 week, but I want to do a challenge right here and now. I'm gonna start doing something physically, even if it's for 5 minutes. I'm gonna do something physically for 30 days, and that's when you create a habit, right?
Yes.
So I am gonna start that, and I guess I'm gonna post it on Facebook to hold myself accountable to say what I'm doing that day. So
that's amazing.
All right.
Yeah, I think when you
want to join me,
when you create that habit, I do 3 walks a day around our neighborhood, and it started to be because we have a dog who's very active, but now it's like I need those 3 walks because those 3 walks mean that I get to take like a little time out from whatever I'm doing that day, and it's like fresh air and the people in the neighborhood, and you're connecting to people, and we're talking about things and playing with the dog on the walk. So yeah, look, you've got somebody joining your challenge.
Yep. Challenge accepted.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll join you. Take the challenge. Fantastic. Thank you. I'm so glad. We are on Visionary Aging this morning, and we're talking with our fabulous segment hosts, Stephen McCullough and Melinda Hughes over at the Strength Shop. And we want to see who else might join our physical challenge, because if you're going to live to be 100, you need to shape up your longevity. And so
Yeah, it's really
So
really important to avoid sitting down. So even just standing.
I have a standing desk that I'm sitting at right now. And so I do about half of the time, if I'm working from home office, I do stand at my desk. And then other times I do sit, just depending on what it is. And then I know I have a friend who's actually been on the program in the past, and he has a treadmill. I would fall if I had the
Oh
treadmill.
my gosh.
Focus on working. But I appreciate that he
do
does that.
that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it is crazy.
I mean, it's great. It's great because if you don't have the time to go around and walk around the neighborhood or whatever in the middle of your day, that's a way to get it in. Keep that movement.
So Melinda, our takeaway on physical activity and how it helps with the heart and the rest of the body. So throw that out there again. What's
the big takeaway?
How about exercise?
For longevity, avoiding a sedentary lifestyle is super important. So if there's anything that you can do, like Mary's challenge this month for the next 30 days, add a little bit of activity or any type of physical activity, even if it's just standing, even if that's, that's a physical challenge for you, just standing, walking around the block, adding a little bit of that every day is going to do a lot for longevity.
Right. Let's go on to food and how our eating habits really make a difference in our life. And I know you just have your clients that you showed up. But
yeah.
Throw out one of the things.
The Mediterranean diet is huge for longevity. And in the Mediterranean diet is a lot of fresh vegetables, fruits, just like you were speaking to earlier, where it's kind of plant-based. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're not eating healthy, lean sources of meat, but it's, there's a lot, it's focused on the vegetables. The vegetables are the main part. And then you're drinking a little bit of red wine if you drink alcohol in moderation, but not a lot of alcohol. Avoiding smoking, it's a big thing.
Oh, absolutely. It changes our, think about what it does to our skin on the outside and what it's doing on the inside. Pretty tragic.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you, Melinda. So glad you're with us today. And
thank you for having me.
Tips. And we're going to go ahead and we'll let you go.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye, Melinda.
Okay, thanks.
So, Mary, I want to revisit something that you guys were talking about before, as far as purpose and relationships. So my mom, one of her purposes, I think, she kept in touch with one of her sisters that lives out of state. And that sister recently passed away. So how do you replace those relationships and that purpose when that happens? Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's interesting. Even my mother-in-law, she was caring for her own mother and her husband at the same time. And she was not, a young woman. But she found that to be her purpose. She was a nurse. And when they passed away, she was kind of feeling like she needed something to replace what she was doing. So she would come over and help me. I know she was helping her daughters. Eventually, she wound up needing the help. But I think trying to find something to replace, it's not easy to just take a relationship that you've had with somebody your entire life and replace that with somebody else. And I even kind of equate that whole idea of moving into assisted living or into a different senior setting where it's like college. And you go away to college and you have to figure out where do you get your food and what's happening here and who are the nice people and who are the people who are going to really help you versus the people who aren't going to help you. And who's the kind of crabby group? Who's the popular group? It is like college when you move into assisted living. And it takes time. I think you've even talked about this before in the past when my daughter started high school and she had no friends when she started. She came home every day. She was crying. And I said, just give it 2 weeks. So I think dig in, find out what really makes you happy, and go through a list of what do you really like to do? What are you really good at doing? Can we find something to bring to your mom to home? Can she reach out, maybe spend an hour every few days calling somebody from the senior center who really needs help? direction, or just hear a voice. And it's so important to have those connections.
Right.
Going back to my daughter, after a couple weeks, she had to kind of really methodically think through how she was going to progress and find these friendships. But she has people who she's friends with today, and gosh, I think she's been out of high school for 10 years now. So it took a little while, and she would ask us at somebody's table or invite somebody to come over. We made a very conscious effort to kind of create these connections for her. And I think if we could do that for your mom as well, it'll be.
Well, in her situation, my mom's situation is unique in that, I mean, one, because of COVID, but two, because just her health, she's more of a shut in. She doesn't get out too much, so she can't physically go to a senior center and find new friends or start a new hobby or explore a hobby or something. So we're trying to find something that she could do at home, in the comfort of her living room, because she really doesn't get out. She can't get out too much.
But it's the actual connection with others. So there actually are quite a few things that are community-based online, as well as Facebook has some different connections that way. We have done that with some of our clients. We also have programs at many of the senior centers where they'll even connect to her. Maybe the purpose is to receive a phone call too, and look forward to something that she might enjoy. But I think the other thing too is we have to assess what somebody can and can't do. And so looking at what her strengths are, and she has superpowers, and the things that she really enjoys, write those down. And then we can start formulating an idea of, if she likes this, then we can do this. If she doesn't like that, then we're not going to do this. If she doesn't leave the house, then we need to do something that comes to her, whether that's, if her hearing is good or, satisfactory, can she use the phone? Can she use the computer? What kinds of things can we connect her to? And start kind of through process of elimination, what kinds of things she needs to enjoy. And then she does need to give herself that break, that 2 weeks to a month or so, where she says, I'm just going to try it. So we'll see how much of this, I want to continue with, versus, oh, today I didn't like it, so I'm not going to do it anymore. So we need to give things a little time to settle in as a habit too, that we enjoy. If we don't like it, start fresh and do something different. I've joined different groups, and it's like, this just isn't the right group for me, and I've looked to find something different. For instance, I have been part of the Al-Anon and community for many years, and I've gone to some groups that I really love and enjoy, and others that I just didn't have the right click for me. So I just kept trying until I found groups that I did enjoy. So that's important. Yeah.
Excellent. So it was Plato who quoted that.
Okay.
The part can never be well unless the whole is well. That was Plato. And then, before we forget, National Day.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of things going on today. It's National Bosses Day. So I hope you're doing well.
Yay. I have the best staff in the world. They do Ginny, Teresa, we have Charlie, we have Jenny. Jenny's been with me the longest. We have Luella, and we have Danielle. And Diane. Diane's running around doing all of our life enhancement right now, which is great. Excellent. So we've got quite a team.
It's also National White Cane Safety Day.
Okay.
And it's National I Love Lucy Day.
Oh, I know a friend, Terry, if you're watching this, Terry is a huge I Love Lucy fan, or Lucy fan, period. So, and I loved her. She was kind of my idol when I was a kid, because I thought she was a pretty lady who was also very funny, and I thought and very naturally funny. So I wanted to.
I have a lot of Ethels in my life.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Well, you have a great weekend, and
you too.
We'll go ahead and sign off, and we'll see you next week. In fact, we have Teresa who's going to start bringing on some great new guests for us. So wait and see what Teresa has to bring on, who she's bringing on. And if you have suggestions, come on, let us know.
Sounds good. And don't forget your challenge.
Yes. Okay. Okay. That's right. Today I will have to decide what I'm going to do today too.
So is everybody going to do the same thing? Are we all going to do the same thing?
No, you're not going to do the same thing. So I'll go ahead and post
what are you committing to?
we're committing to some kind of physical change. And I also have this thing called good, better, best. So it's good to do a little more physical exercise. It'll be better if I focus on maybe 20 minutes or more. It would be best if I, put a whole program with cardio and this, that, and the other thing together. But the good thing is I'm starting. And just like I made small changes with food, mostly because my kids came back and they had braces. So we stopped drinking soda. One of the other kids started doing weightlifting and bodybuilding. And so we changed everything that we were doing as far as cleaning our food, cleaning up our food habits. So those little things over time have made a huge difference in the way.
So you're going to do every 5 minutes every day, you're going to do something.
5 minutes every day?
Yeah, is that what you're committed
At
to?
least, yeah.
Okay. What exactly, what
And
specifically are you doing?
So I'll either go
What
out of my
specifically
way
are you
to
doing?
Okay, today I am going to park my car on the furthest part of the parking lots when I go in to do shopping or any meetings that I'm going to. I'm going to about 2 or 3 meetings today, and I'll park on the far end so I get more steps in today. How's that?
Okay.
That's my commitment.
I will accept your challenge. I will do 5 minutes of some form of ab exercises.
All right, let's do it. We'll post.
But then we have someone else who's commented. If you want, you can tell us what you're going to do too. You don't have to, but if you want to tell us what you're doing, we can hold each other to that.
All right, sounds great.
All right.
Until next week.
All right, sounds good. Great show.
All right. What's your vision of aging? Go for it.